My name is Eleanor Hayes, a 58-year-old lawyer who's spent 35 years building a career from nothing in Sacramento, California. I've fought tough cases, raised a daughter, and kept my late husband Margaret's memory alive in our $350,000 home. But my daughter Sophia shattered that life, kicking me out, shouting, "My husband's family is moving in, so get out!" I asked, "Where?" She snapped back, "Go to the landfill." I left, smiling, because it wasn't defeat. It was a tactical retreat to execute my plan. Within a week, they lost everything: their home, their money, their happiness. You're listening to this story on Renvenge Zinnia, where buried truths are told by those who live them. Please subscribe to the channel and share where you're watching from in the comments. The phone rang as I finished washing my lunch dishes, the shrill tones slicing through the quiet of my empty Sacramento house, startling me. My hands were still damp when I grabbed it, seeing Sophia's number on the screen. My heart lifted. She hadn't called in 2 months. "Mom," her voice was unusually sweet. "Hope I'm not interrupting anything big." "Sophia, honey." I couldn't hide my excitement. "You're never interrupting." "It's so good to hear your voice." Her laugh felt rehearsed. "I've got a surprise. We're coming over tonight, me, Daniel, and his parents. We need to talk." My lawyer's mind started calculating. "Tonight? That's wonderful. I haven't seen you in so long." I offered to make dinner and grab her favorite $30 Pinot Noir from a Napa Valley vineyard we'd visited. "Don't worry about food," her tone sharpened. "Just be ready by 7. This is important." The formality made me pause, but loneliness overrode caution. "Of course, sweetheart. I'll make everything perfect. Staying the night? I can prep the guest rooms." "We'll see how it goes," she cut me off gently. "I have to run, but we'll see you at 7 sharp." The line went dead before I could ask more, leaving me replaying her words. A surprise, a conversation. Maybe this was the reconciliation I'd hoped for since my husband Margaret's passing. I glanced at my watch. 2:45 p.m., 4 hours to prepare. The house felt alive with possibility. I walked through each room, seeing it through Sophia's eyes. The living room needed vacuuming, the bathroom fresh towels. With the precision of my 35 years in legal practice, I drove to a grocery store on J Street. The March air was crisp, promising spring but holding winter's edge. I picked a bouquet of yellow daffodils, Sophia's childhood favorite, and the $30 Pinot Noir she'd loved last Christmas. In the bakery, I grabbed individual chocolate tarts, the kind she used to beg for during our bookstore trips. Back home, I arranged the flowers in Margaret's crystal vase, which Sophia always admired. The afternoon light through the kitchen window made them glow like tiny suns. I set the dining table with our fine china, reserved for rare special occasions. While wiping down the counters, I found myself humming, a habit dormant for months. The house felt expectant. I pulled out photo albums, hoping we'd flip through them together. Sophia at 5, gap-toothed in her yellow dress. At 16, rolling her eyes but smiling. On her wedding day, radiant in white silk. I paused at that photo. Daniel's smile seemed hollow, flanked by his parents, William's practiced businessman's grin, and Catherine's mild disapproval. They'd never fully accepted me, the lawyer who rose from nothing. But tonight would be different, a family reunion. I showered and put on my best casual blouse. The blue one, Sophia said, brought out my eyes. In the mirror, I saw a woman trying to look younger than her 58 years, hope brightening her face. My gray hair was neatly combed, my expression optimistic. At 6:30, I did a final walkthrough. The house smelled of lemon cleaner and fresh flowers. The wine was breathing, the tarts waiting on china plates. Everything was ready for Sophia's surprise. I settled into my favorite chair by the window, watching for headlights on K Street. Anticipation like Christmas morning, waiting for something wonderful. The streetlights flickered on in the dusk. 7 o'clock was moments away. Car doors slammed outside my Sacramento home on K Street. Through the frosted glass, I saw 4 silhouettes: Sophia, Daniel, William, and Catherine Brooks. My heart pounded as I opened the door before they could knock, flashing a welcoming smile. "Sophia, Daniel," I said. But Sophia stood in a black coat, her face cold like she was at a funeral. "Hello, Mom," she said, no warmth, no hug. Daniel pushed past, reeking of whiskey, eyes bloodshot, jaw clenched. William and Catherine flanked the doorway like bodyguards in designer coats. Come in," I urged, gesturing to the table with Sophia's daffodils and the $30 Pinot Noir. "I've prepared dinner. Open that wine you love." Catherine swept into my living room uninvited, her sharp eyes scanning my belongings. She brushed Margaret's crystal vase. "Such cheap flowers," she sneered. I blinked, confused. "I bought Sophia's favorites, the daffodils." "Mom, we need to talk," Sophia cut in, her eyes cold as January rain. "Sit down." William snapped photos of my kitchen and dining room with his phone. "What's he doing?" I asked, bewildered. "Assessing the property value," Catherine said matter-of-factly, settling into Margaret's favorite chair like she owned it. "Now my son's family will live here, so get out." The words hit like a punch. I gripped the sofa. "What? Where? This is my $350,000 home. I've lived here 25 years. Sophia's voice was icy. "Go to the landfill if you want. We need this house." Daniel stepped closer, his whiskey breath sharp. "We've arranged things with the police. Don't make trouble." I stared at Sophia, searching for the child I'd raised, the woman I'd loved unconditionally. Nothing. No warmth, no remorse. She saw me as a stranger, an obstacle. "Sophia, sweetheart," I pleaded, "is this about money? If you need help—" Catherine cut me off. "You're leaving tonight. You have 1 hour to pack essentials." My legs buckled, and I sank onto the sofa, my mind reeling. The tart sat untouched, the wine useless in its decanter. Everything I'd prepared mocked me now. "This is my home," I whispered. William pocketed his phone. "Not anymore. Sophia is our daughter-in-law. Family takes care of family." The irony stung. I looked at 3 decades of memories, the life I built with Margaret, the home where I raised Sophia. They stood like invaders, carving up my existence. A cold resolve settled in my chest, not anger, but calculation. My lawyer's instincts kicked in, mapping their weaknesses. "All right," I said quietly. The room fell silent. They'd expected tears or rage. Catherine's eyebrows rose. Daniel's stance faltered. I stood, grabbed my leather briefcase from the closet. "I'll pack some things." The silence was taut. I moved to my bedroom with the precision of 35 years of legal practice, pulling my worn suitcase from the closet shelf. Its leather was cracked, but the latches worked perfectly. "All right, I'll go," I said, voice calm. "But I've been a lawyer my whole life. I know how to build cases and tear them down." Sophia shifted uncomfortably. "What do you mean by that?" I met her eyes. "Nothing, daughter. Just wishing you happiness in your new home." Catherine's voice rang from the living room, finally showing sense. I packed bank statements, insurance papers, the house deed, and my legal certifications, 35 years of documentation. Catherine's victorious tone echoed as I packed, hands steady despite my turmoil. I gathered bank statements, insurance papers, and the deed to my $350,000 house. Its immediate use unclear, but a lifeline to my rights. My law certifications and references, 35 years of meticulous work, came next. Sophia lingered in the doorway, watching, perhaps with a flicker of guilt, but she turned away when Daniel called from the kitchen. I packed Margaret's photo last from our anniversary dinner 3 years ago. His smile radiated warmth impossible in this cold house of strangers tied by blood. In 20 minutes, I'd packed a lifetime. I wheeled the suitcase through the living room, where my former family watched like vultures. William photographed my valuable possessions. As I packed, I spoke calmly, cutting the silence. "I've been a lawyer my whole life. I know how to build cases and tear them down." Sophia's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" My expression stayed neutral. "Nothing, daughter. Just wishing you happiness." The words were a warning they didn't grasp. Catherine scoffed, rearranging pillows in Margaret's chair. I focused, my legal mind already mapping their downfall. "The utilities are in my name," I said at the front door, eyeing those I'd loved. Sophia avoided my gaze. Daniel reached for the $30 Pinot Noir. Catherine coveted Margaret's crystal collection. "You'll need to transfer them." "We'll handle everything," William said, not looking up. "Well then," I gripped the suitcase. "Goodbye." No response. The March air stung my face in Sacramento, clearing my thoughts. I loaded my suitcase into my Honda's trunk, bought with Margaret 5 years ago, still reliable. I drove past the elementary school where I'd dropped Sophia off, the park of her graduation, the J Street store for tonight's rejected dinner. At a 24-hour convenience store, the ATM's light glared. I checked my balance. Pension, Social Security, and $75,000 in savings, more than they'd expect, enough for my plan. The Sunrise Inn, 15 minutes from my old neighborhood, was budget, but clean. The desk clerk, a young woman with tired eyes, processed my $150 cash payment for 3 nights without curiosity. Room 237. The room smelled of carpet cleaner, with a single bed, small table, TV, and thin towels. I sat on the bed's edge, opened my laptop. Morning light filtered through thin curtains, harsh. Betrayal crashed back. I logged into my banking. $75,000 in savings, pension, Social Security. Then, the joint account with Sophia opened when she was 18. I was still co-owner, she'd forgotten. The $12,000 balance made me smile. 25 years. I gave and gave. I murmured. Time to take back what's mine. I showered in the cramped bathroom, the hot water bringing clarity. No confusion, no hurt, just legal precision for a specific problem. By 9:30 a.m., I stood in Techmart's bright aisles in Sacramento. The clerk, her purple hair catching the light, barely looked up. "I need a prepaid phone, something basic and a cheap laptop for travel," I said. She pointed to options with practiced boredom. I paid $500 cash for a flip phone and laptop, leaving no digital trail to Eleanor Hayes. "Setting up a home office?" she asked, ringing me up. "Remote work," I said, "consulting." Close enough to the truth. The real estate office on L Street was a converted house. Sarah Martinez, per her nameplate, smiled brightly, thriving on commission. "How can I help?" "I need a 1-bedroom apartment, month-to-month lease," I said, sitting across from her. "I work online, so good internet is essential." "Budget range?" I named $100 and $200 a month, making her smile widen. "This unit on M Street has fiber optic internet, perfect for remote work. Move-in date? Today, if possible." She blinked. "Ambitious, but I like it. Let me make calls." 2 hours later, I signed a lease for a clean apartment 10 blocks from my old home, close for reconnaissance, far enough to avoid encounters. Sarah handed me the keys. "Internet's active tomorrow. Need neighborhood tips?" "Just good coffee," I said. She laughed, suggesting 3 nearby cafes. The apartment smelled of fresh paint and industrial carpet, its empty rooms full of possibility. I set my suitcase in the bedroom, my laptop on the kitchen counter. Sunlight slanted through clean windows, dust motes dancing like plans forming. By Wednesday, my apartment was a command center. 4 manila folders sat on the table, labeled Sophia, Daniel, William, Catherine. I filled them with what I knew: Sophia's work address, lunch spots, routines, Daniel's construction site and after-work habits, the Brooks' temporary address, my former home on K Street. Gaps remained, but I'd fill them with vulnerabilities. I listed resources, timelines, information needed, and Phase 1 objectives. My legal training demanded structure, like building a case. Outside, Sacramento buzzed with ordinary life. Inside, I was crafting something extraordinary they'd never see coming. I scrolled through Sophia's contact info on my old phone. Her work number, Daniel's cell, the Brooks address. So many vulnerabilities. I cracked my knuckles and typed, my lawyer's mind plotting the first moves of a legal assault. Thursday evening, I sipped ginger ale at the Reno Casino's bar, a 90-minute drive from Sacramento. The bartender, Linda, with gray roots, kept the conversation flowing. "That guy Daniel comes here often," I said, nodding toward the blackjack tables where he sat hunched. "Oh, yeah," Linda said. "Lost $15,000 these past weeks. Says he'll pay when he sells a house." I watched Daniel's desperate gestures as his chips vanished. "Sounds confident," I said. "Hope so," Linda whispered. "Some guys here don't wait." Daniel stumbled up, face flushed with alcohol. I snapped clear photos with my camera's zoom lens, his condition, behavior, shady companions, evidence. Friday morning, I followed Daniel to his construction site in downtown Sacramento, at Parker Development's glass building on N Avenue. At 11:30, he took an extended lunch break, not alone. A 30-ish woman, auburn-haired in a tailored suit, walked close, his hand brushing her back intimately. I photographed them from across the street, her hand on his arm, their kiss before parting at her car. These images were leverage, proof of Daniel's betrayal and professional risk. That afternoon, I visited the Sacramento County Clerk's office. Public records exposed William Brooks's financial ruin, a failed restaurant chain investment, $65,000 in tax liens, and a suspended business license for unpaid fees. The Brooks family was drowning. These documents were a goldmine, revealing exploitable weaknesses. Back in my apartment, I spread photographs across the kitchen table. Daniel's $15,000 gambling debts with casino receipts and bartender statements, his affair photos, William's tax troubles, Catherine's dependence on her husband's crumbling income. Each folder, Sophia, Daniel, William, Catherine, held enough to dismantle them. I leaned back, a lawyer's satisfaction settling in. Their victory over me was cracking. My phone buzzed, Sophia's info intact. Time to begin the demolition. Saturday morning brought the clarity of 35 years of legal practice. I planned my moves. Sophia first, financial pressure for panic. At First National Bank in Sacramento, I met branch manager David Ortiz, where Sophia and I opened her account 20 years ago. "I need to modify this joint account's permissions," I said, sliding paperwork across his desk. "These changes take effect immediately, Ms. Hayes," he confirmed. "You're the primary account holder, requiring approval for large withdrawals." "Notify me of any access attempts," I said. "Specific limits for the secondary holder?" $300 daily maximum. Anything larger needs my written approval." Sophia would feel the $12,000 account's restrictions when paying rent or groceries. By Monday, my phone buzzed. Multiple failed access attempts at 10:47 a.m. 7 tries in 15 minutes, 2 customer service calls, 1 review request, all denied. Sophia's voicemails pleaded, "Mom, there's a problem with our account. Please call back. This is a mistake." Then, "I can't pay rent or groceries. My card was declined in front of coworkers." Her third call cracked on help. Panic as planned. After lunch, I visited Emily Carter's downtown Sacramento office, her diplomas reassuring. "I invested $35,000 in my house over 5 years," I said, showing receipts for a new roof, foundation, and kitchen. "You have legal rights, Ms. Hayes," Emily said, reviewing the paperwork. "Your position is strong." "I want them to realize their mistake first," I said. "They thought I was helpless." "Interesting approach," she noted, "but you're solid legally." "I'll be in touch," I said, planning to strike at the right moment. At the California Revenue Service on O Street, I submitted a manila envelope anonymously. The clerk confirmed, "William Brooks, business owner, unreported income, questionable deductions, suspended license." It joined an investigation-required basket targeting his $65,000 tax liens. Bureaucracy would drain his resources. Back at my apartment by 5 p.m., I poured a glass of wine, a rare indulgence. Sacramento's lights flickered outside, promising more. Wednesday, I arranged Daniel's photos. 12 high-resolution shots of his affair, plus $15,000 gambling debt evidence. 2 envelopes went out, one to Parker Development's HR, one to Sophia's office. By 10:20 a.m., Daniel's supervisor saw my submission, photos of him drinking on lunch breaks, debt records, witness statements. Parker Development fired him as a liability. My listening device caught his panicked call. They fired me, Sophia. Someone sent info about my personal life. What info? She snapped. Casino photos, $15,000 debt statements. I'm a reputation risk. We can't afford groceries. 2 hours later, Sophia got my envelope. I know about your affair, Daniel, she said, voice deadly quiet. I want half of everything. It's not what it looks like, he pleaded. Photos don't lie. Daniel's desperation grew. This isn't coincidence. Your mom's money, my job, these photos. Someone's doing this. Silence. Your mother, he whispered. We threw out a woman who solves problems methodically. Sophia scoffed. Mom couldn't plan a birthday party, let alone this. Sophia's panic escalated with the $12,000 account's $300 limit. My device caught her and Daniel. Mom's money is blocked, she said, voice sharp. How do we pay the $2,500 mortgage? Daniel, slurring, said, We'll sell something. The bank says Mom did this deliberately, she snapped. Your mother? No, she wouldn't know how. At 4:15, she called William. The tax office is auditing your records and Mom locked our account. Impossible, he crackled. She's the primary holder, Sophia said. Where is she? I don't know, neighbors haven't seen her. What did we walk into? Sophia sank into Margaret's chair, its creak audible. We underestimated her. Daniel's photos, his affair and $15,000 debts, hit Parker Development and Sophia. They fired me, he told her, voice breaking. Casino photos, debt statements. We can't survive without your paycheck, Sophia raged. Later, I know about your affair. I want half. It's not what it looks like, he begged. You're a disappointment like her, she said, unaware I'd orchestrated it. This isn't coincidence, Daniel said. Your mother. Friday they came, desperate, thinking intimidation would work. I arranged my documents, $35,000 investment receipts, bank statements, attorney letters. Officer Davis knocked at 10:30. Miss Hayes, they claim you're threatening them. Catherine waited in a patrol car, smug. I showed Davis my evidence. I'm protecting my rights. He frowned. These look legitimate. What are they claiming? Restricted my account, consulted my attorney, reported tax issues. I gave him Emily Carter's card. 20 minutes later, he dismissed Catherine's complaint. No evidence, no restraining order. She spent the afternoon bashing me to neighbors like Mrs. Patterson. She's dangerous, Catherine said. Anything illegal? No, but talk to her directly. Her campaign failed. Neighbors trusted me. By 3 p.m., William hired Rick Stone, a detective whose sedan parked across my M Street apartment. I photographed his license plate and telephoto lens. Amateur work. I let him waste William's money, sticking to routine. Groceries, library, coffee shops. Emily texted, harassment complaint dismissed. Your actions are legal. They were panicking, proving my legal strategy's strength. Saturday, I sat amid my victory. Sophia's restricted account, Daniel's ruin, William's $65,000 tax probe. Yet I felt empty. In my filing cabinet, I found Margaret's letters from our 35-year-ago separation over his mother's interference. My darling Eleanor, he wrote, anger leads to regrets. Proving you're right won't make us happy. His words hit hard, seeing through my legal tactics to the human cost. One letter read, revenge doesn't bring happiness, but justice does. There's a difference between making them pay and making things right. I drove to Riverside Cemetery in Sacramento, Margaret's grave under an oak, its granite marking 32 years of marriage. I hadn't visited since his funeral 6 months ago. What would you do? I asked, desperate. Forgive or fight. His voice seemed to answer through vivid memories. You've won, Eleanor. Destroying them won't bring back our home or fix Sophia. I traced his name. It doesn't feel like victory. His laugh echoed, you're a builder, not a destroyer. There's a difference between making them pay and making things right, I whispered. Margaret's wisdom shifted me from vengeance to justice, legal, righteous. Destroying the Brooks wouldn't heal Sophia or restore my home. I wanted solutions, not ruin. That evening, I spread my documents, $35,000 investment records, financial evidence, criminal documentation, not for destruction, but justice. I typed a letter to Emily Carter for legal action to recover my $350,000 home, a plan Margaret would be proud of, rooted in law. Monday, I arranged my stacks. $35,000 property records, $12,000 account evidence, William's $65,000 tax fraud documents. At 9:30 a.m., I met Detective Laura Bennett at Sacramento Police Bureau. "You have enough for charges," she said. "Fraud, tax evasion, conspiracy to defraud your property." I handed over Daniel's $15,000 gambling photos. "Justice, not revenge," I said. "Most would want blood," she noted. "My husband taught me the difference." By 11:00 Williams' arrest warrants were issued. At 1:00 p.m., Judge Thompson reviewed my $35,000 investment receipts. "Ms. Hayes has legal standing as co-owner of this $350,000 property," Emily Carter argued. The judge ruled, "The house is returned. Defendants vacate within 48 hours. The gavel's bang was my legal triumph. By 3 p.m., the sheriff served Catherine the eviction notice, her face cycling through shock and anger. Sophia emerged from my K Street home, suitcase in hand, moving mechanically in emotional shock. Daniel followed, hollow from losing everything. William and Catherine trailed, their designer coats useless. They loaded their car silently. No arguments or charm, just acceptance of consequences. At 5 p.m., I stood in my doorway, the house mine again. The light slanted through the kitchen, illuminating justice, not vengeance. Margaret's crystal vase stood undamaged, like my sense of right. The Brooks left food containers, magazines, Sophia's $80 face cream, signs they'd treated my home like a hotel. I erased their presence with a lawyer's precision, new $200 locks, a $1,500 security system, fresh flowers for Margaret's vase. The next day, Friday at 3 p.m., my phone rang. Sophia's number. "Mom," her voice trembled, stripped of the entitled confidence I'd heard 3 weeks ago. "Can we talk?" I considered hanging up, but Margaret's lesson about the difference between justice and cruelty held me back. "We're talking," I said evenly. "I realize I was wrong," Sophia said haltingly, her words pulled from deep wounds. "Everything's falling apart. Daniel's drinking again. The Brooks blame me for William's arrest. I lost my job because I can't focus." "I'm sorry to hear that, Sophia," I replied. "Are you really?" Her raw honesty caught me off guard. Was I sorry or just satisfied that consequences had landed as planned? "Yes," I realized. "I'm sorry it came to this. Mom, forgive me, please. I know I hurt you, but I'm still your daughter." Silence stretched between us, heavy as the 18 days since she'd called me family. "Sophia, forgiveness is one thing, but trust is entirely different. You made your choice when you threw me out of my $350,000 home. Now live with it." "I can't survive without my $12,000. She pleaded, referring to the joint account I'd restricted. "You survived 36 years depending on me for everything," I said gently. "Now learn to depend on yourself." "Mom, please. I gave you 25 years, my time, my money, my heart, my home, and the moment it was convenient, you discarded it all." I paused, watching the afternoon light slant through my Sacramento kitchen window. That taught me what I was protecting. The line went quiet, save for her breathing. "Goodbye, Sophia," I said, and hung up. That evening, I poured a glass of fine wine, a $50 bottle I'd saved for special occasions, and sat in Margaret's favorite chair in my reclaimed home on K Street. The house felt new, not just free of the Brooks family's presence, but filled with restored self-respect. "Margaret," I said to the empty room, "I did this right. Justice prevailed." I could almost hear his gentle laughter, feel his approval in the familiar creaks of our home settling around me. My campaign had begun with vengeance, but Margaret's wisdom, found in his letters and at his grave, had guided me to something better. My 35 years as a lawyer had taught me to build cases, but Margaret taught me to build solutions that honored our values. Outside, Sacramento hummed with ordinary life, people going about their days, unaware of the battle I'd fought and won. Inside, I began planning what to build next. Not just legal cases or strategies, but a life rooted in the dignity and purpose I'd reclaimed. The $35,000 I'd invested in this house, the $500 security system, the $200 locks, they were more than expenses. They were steps toward a future where I defined my worth. If you enjoyed this story, like the video, subscribe to Renvenge Zinnia, and share your thoughts in the comments. Click the box on the left for the next story. Thank you for watching.